Hi, everybody. A warm welcome once again to a 37th episode of the 4D program, which tries to reach out to each and every one of you so that all of us can benefit from the great expertise from the fantastic experts who come on this show to help us understand how we can manage diabetes and its complications, its comorbidities much better in our country, which we all know is facing a huge epidemic as far as diabetes is concerned.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Ramanan, Vision and Diabetologist, Madras Medical Mission Hospital, Chennai. So today I'm going to discuss about the undiagnosed, uncontrolled. Why? What is the reason in India why we say diabetes capital of the world? Why we say India is the diabetes capital of the world? So why? What is the reason? So we are going to see the answer for that. So, what is the scenario of diabetes in India? In India, 1 in 11 adults are living with diabetes. Over 1 in 2 adults living with diabetes underdiagnosed, undiagnosed. The number of people with diabetes in India is the second highest in the world. The 40 million adults in the India have impaired glucose tolerance, that is called pre-diabetes, famous pre-diabetes. And the pre-diabetes patients have a high risk to develop diabetes later. So, there are we see there are many patients with with pre-diabetes, and what is the reason for it? So we can see there is a link between the many reasons. One is this reduced physical activity, increased availability of processed food, and aging population, and moreover obesity and overweight, and perception of diabetes. These are the very positive and causative agents where we see more diabetes in India. Next, there is a survey done by ICMR and NCDA. Um, so they projected that it will be 69.9 million of diabetes by 2025. And what leads to uncontrolled, undiagnosed glycemic levels? See, there are many reasons why we say even who are diagnosed, they have uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled blood glucose levels. Who are undiagnosed, what is the reason behind that? Because the lack of general awareness about diabetes and its complications. And moreover, lack of accessibility of diagnostic measures and treatment of our diabetes, especially in the remote areas. The economic divided between the urban and rural setting, and the scarcity of qualified healthcare professionals, financial constraint for people in lower socioeconomic strata, and also some social barriers. So there are the what is the uh, rural and urban divide? In urban areas, the prevalence of diabetes was higher in individuals of low socioeconomic status. This was attributed to the increased availability of fast, relatively cheap food in recent areas, which means poor diet are easily found across all income brackets. And what is the awareness among the people? See, according to the Improved Control India study, only 19% of patients were advised to test HbA1c levels routinely, out of which only one third of patients included in the study were aware of HbA1c test. So the thing is, uh, you are not aware of what is HbA1c, and there are many patients are not advised to do HbA1c test routine. So, and the advice of fasting and postprandial glucose was given to only 97% and 96% patients respectively. All the HbA1c are considered as important parameter in diabetic management, but still we see many patients not aware of HbA1c levels. How to manage Indian diabetes? So, only thing is we have to emphasize strict about diet and regular exercise, and also they should track the blood glucose levels often, and they should take medication regularly. They should not skip medications, and they should control the cholesterol levels. They should keep the HLDL level below the required number, and also they should take care of the kidney. They should do routine renal profile to rule out the effectiveness of kidney function, and also they should lose excess weight and also practice a good oral hygiene. So they should not only whatever when you talk about diet, they should there should be carbohydrate, balancing, balanced nutrition food, and we should tell them a clear. We should give them a clear picture about exercise. How often they should do exercise, whether the strengthening exercise or aerobics. Or so we should encourage them to participate in the sports also. So, what are the treatment strategies at present available in India? We have DB4 inhibitors, SGLT2 inhibitors, and GLP agonists. So, DB inhibitors, sitagliptin, saxagliptin, and allo. And SGLT2, we have canagliflozin, dapagliflozin, and empagliflozin. And GLP1, we have glargine. And what about the SGLT2 and D4 inhibitor combination for the type control issue? Definitely, when we see uncontrolled people, definitely we have to know monotherapy should give them dual acting molecules, so control and a fixed dose combination, which helps to control the pill burden, helps control the blood glucose levels and also pill burden. So the SGLT2 will act on kidneys and also pancreas, and also D4 inhibitor will act on pancreas and also intestine. So it increases the what SGLT2 does to our body. It increases the glycosyl, reduces glycotoxicity, and reduces weight gain and the systemic blood pressure. What about the DP4 inhibitor? Increases GLP1 and increases GIP. So and also it increases the incretin effect. That is what trying to do. So that increases the insulin secretion, decreases the glucagon. So and also it is weight neutral molecule. So reduces the hyperglycemia. So what is the fixed combination for suitable for our Indian type 2 patients because of the following reasons? This is safer, rapid, and sustained glycemic control. Provides both in improves both insulin resistance and beta cell function, and helps to reduce the body weight and blood pressure. That's another extra glycemic benefits we get from joining this two molecule, and reduces pill burden, as I said, and improve the overall complaints of the patients, and reduces the overall cost, and it is cost effective also. So with this, just to go to the discussion part.
Dr. Ramadan, I mean, today I think we're going to have a very, very interesting because as we all the time, you keep on hearing this all the time that, oh, India is the diabetes capital of the world. We have at this point, practically, we're going to have the highest number of diabetics in the world. What do you think could be the reason? Why is it that we are actually the highest? We are
Yeah,
potentially
first
going to
thing
have
is
the highest number of
yeah,
diabetics.
yeah. First thing is not only higher in diabetic, our population also the higher side. And most of the patients, we our gene itself like that. We all know we call as thin fat individuals. We all have a central obesity. That is a risk factor for diabetes and also cardiovascular events. Cardiovascular. So we call Indian as a thin fat individuals. We will not be fat. Only the central, the uh, the portion around the stomach, belly, and the mid portion will be we have fat. So that itself a higher risk factor. And and if you see, another one is in the junk foods, availability of junk foods. If you see, we are doing a study where in a street, if you take a street, minimum of 5 to 6 junk food shop will be there, but only one or two fruit bundies we see. So the availability of fast food, junk foods is much uh, easier and also cheaper than the fruits nowadays. And moreover, and patients, many people don't know what is. They think that only the cause of diabetes is eating high sugar. They don't know even whatever we eat converted into glucose. That basic concept, still many people don't know that. They think only when we take sugars, direct sugars, that will cause diabetes. It's not so. And still there is a thinking that only the parents, both the parents or any of the parents are diabetic. then only the chance of getting diabetes to the offspring. It is not so. We have to educate them in a way that what is diabetes, what is the basic thing behind it, and many things nowadays in youngsters. Yeah, there's definitely we see many youngsters are started going to gym, and they want to keep them healthy, fit. But still, we see we go, and our population, aged people are so high, and still we see aged population are not fond of regular exercising, and that another fact. And still we see many youngsters are still taking junk foods, and the calorie intake is much more higher than our parents or grandparents had. So that all contributes to the higher rate, what I feel.
I think you put it very aptly, Dr. Ramanan. I think Dr. Ramanan actually, summarized it very well, saying it is our phenotype, our genotype, our habits, our social habits, as you rightly put it. I often think, Dr. Ramanan, it's not only the palatability. Of course, junk food is much more palatable, if I'm allowed to say that, but it is also the cost factor. Because I know for a fact that in Mumbai, a vada pav is cheaper than an apple. I can tell you that. So it is, a lot of cost factor also, I think, which comes into play. And the fact that we are not mentally mentally trained to be physically active. I totally agree with you on that count. I think we just don't prioritize, any kind of activity or any kind of exercise. And all these things finally lead to the entire problem where we're talking about India being the diabetes capital. So totally agree with you on that count. You alluded to westernization, you alluded to, high fat food, you alluded to junk food to some extent. Do you think it is, this entire, westernization of our culture has contributed to the entire obesity epidemic and then translated into a diabetes epidemic, which we are facing at this point of time?
Definitely. See, if you take, if I am, when I am 10 years of 10 years, I cancel. Only once a month we go outside to have dinner. But it is not so now. Any time we see get together, every night parties. So we see weekend parties, and we see most of the what to say hotels are full in weekends. We need to book 1 week prior to that, prior to
Yes.
for a table. So the westernization definitely plays a major role, and moreover. And more of advertisements. So whenever you open Zomato or Swiggy, if I didn't order anything for 2 days, the first man to feel bad is the Zomato. He will send me a message. Hi, buddy. Today you didn't uh, ping me up. So it is also whenever we open a TV channel, we see a lot of advertisements about junk foods. So no advertisement about any fruits. See, we see some advertisement about good thing about egg is coming up nowadays in TV, but otherwise, no. Wherever we see there is a vast of advertisement about junk foods, come as five, pay only for four. All this, no, it's they attract the youngsters and they have parties. That is how I feel the westernization definitely plays a major role as we start adapting the Western culture. That also, and moreover, burger, pizza, it's a high calorie food. What I feel, so much of pizzas. If we go through a YouTube channel, we can see lot of. I don't know how they eat. Uh, Half of the butter is for 250 grams of butter is using for an omelette. They call Maharaja butter, Maharaja omelette burger. We see many YouTube channels and they promote that shop, and many people started going there. So it is all these things. No, we should have what to say.
I think
Whenever
social
we
media is
upload,
social media is so
yeah, we should put.
subtly.
Yeah, social media definitely they whatever we see in social media about food, it's all anything. The only thing is any amount of oil we can hide in a food. So usually we think we take only two chapati, but we don't know how much oil in this they use to prepare the chapati. See, many patients complain, sir. I came home, came yesterday. I had a travel. Today fasting is high. But yesterday I had only two chapati. If we asked them, they might have added not at home. They might have added somewhere shop. To make it soft, they will add some vanaspati or ghee or butter, whatever they want. So we don't know. We have to, if you ask the any patients, no, will be stunned because the use of oil is so very high. If you ask them, definitely only two or three people will be there at home. Four people, they will use 5 to 6 liters of oil. Oh my God! So 1.5 liter or 2 liters per person is very huge amount. So the
Very true.
quantity of the food that, yeah, we see many patients, they come with such high cholesterols and high triglycerides. We ask them, they will eat so much of processed food that also, and moreover, we see many processed food. That is the main problem. And with the amount of sodium present in the processed food is very high.
So I think
So
it's
we
the
also,
hidden
there is
calories.
no,
I agree. I think it is the hidden calories which we really don't take into account and which we need to be more aware of. I mean, you just spoke about processed foods, and I think it's very important that we, as well as our patients, learn to read food labels on the processed food to understand better what kind of fat the food has, what kind of saturated, unsaturated fat the food has, so that we can actually make a difference as far as the quality and also the caloric content of food is concerned. I totally agree because we have, I mean, since we are moving in the direction of westernization, I think these are very, very important things we learn along the way. Because unless we learn it and we teach our patients how to read food labels, I mean, there's so much of food nowadays available in malls, ad libitum availability of all kinds of tinned foods, which, as you rightly said, are just picked off shelves without realizing, what kind of caloric value they have. I also totally agree with you that, I think ordering food and going out has become part of our culture increasingly, and that is contributing in some way. Dr. Ramanand, do you think that as a population, are we really aware about the fact that we should get evaluated for diabetes? Do you think we need to do a lot more? I mean, I just saw your CV, you do conduct diabetes education camps and detection camps very regularly. What is your experience in that area?
can you repeat? You are not audible.
I'm sorry, I said I read in your CV that you do a lot of diabetes detection camps and a lot of a number of camps where you are creating awareness among people regarding diabetes. So, what is your experience in that arena?
See, if you ask me, many people when I start in the year 2015, 14, hardly I'll get some 50 to 20 patients per camp. I have to sit from morning 7 to 10 in a public park or they think that it is checking diabetes is not at all necessary. Those, but on coming, but now if you go to a park or if you go to anywhere, no, minimum we'll get 150 to 200 patients. But they are now the awareness of diabetes is increasing, but still it is not so great to show that patients or people are aware of diabetes. But they know there is a disease called diabetes which affects every part in the body. That is what they know. But still they think that um, we should what to say, only if there is a myth about diabetes, only people who are obese they will get diabetes, the people are elderly they will get diabetes, people whose father mother are diabetes chance of getting that. So such myth is there, but they don't know that everyone is having a chance of 25% to get diabetes in their life if they've we see many patients minimum most of the patients we see 50 to 20%. If in 100 people 20 people we found it more sugars more than 200 with the cbg levels. In such patients we'll ask them to go for an hbA1c fasting and postprandial to rule out where they stand, whether they were pre-diabetic or diabetic. So 20% we detect a newly diagnosed diabetes in each visit. Once in month we do. We see 20% of the people are neurodiagnosed, and most of them age between from 30 or nearly 40s to 50s neurodiagnosed.
So that's pretty huge.
And
I
above
mean,
50, most of the patients they know that they are diabetic. So the young people, they want to know whether they were diabetic. So they, whenever we check, they will just come and do the blood glucose levels. CBG with more than 200, we see minimum 20% of the people who attend the camp, they were we found to have 200, about 200.
So that's really huge, Dr. Ramanan. That's really huge.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
considering, yeah, I mean, that's pretty huge.
Because some
And
patients, we
considering,
don't know, some patient might have add their what to say, food 1 hour before testing. That's why we can't come to a conclusion. But we suggest them to do an HbA1c and fasting postprandial, because in that 100 20 patients may go to some physicians. We don't know whether they were following it up or not. That's also important to us.
yeah, but that's very
And
interesting. I
moreover,
mean, the,
they were afraid to take medications if they found to have diabetes. There's another burden for them. They should take medications. They feel like it is taking medication will. Many people have a simple questions. It is whole India will have taking medication will harm their kidney. That is the one simple question. Sir, taking medications for a long time, whether it will harm their kidney. So taking medication will is not advisable in the early stage. What is there? They'll think that if he is 25 years or 30 years, sir, I am just 30 years. Why I should take medication? I will take in the 60. That are the things they will have in the mind.
I totally agree with you. And I think, one very pertinent point that you put across was that we are diagnosing patients at a much younger age. So I think that's something which we need to keep in mind, that our patients coming to us at a much younger age. And when we're talking about patients coming to us at a younger age, we are potentially talking about patients also having complication at a younger age. So we are talking about a lot of implications, not only for patients, families, but for the entire society when we're talking about that kind of morbidity and mortality. I will ask you the last question, Dr. Ramanan, of the day in the interest of time. Do you think that, you told me that our young patients don't like taking medications. They feel that it's, better to take it later. Do you think therapy-wise there are differences between therapy in our country versus the rest of the world? Or do you think that we don't take treatment of diabetes as seriously in spite of knowing about the metabolic memory in the early stages of diagnosis? And do you think that, the complication rate can be much lower if we take
Definitely,
diabetes a lot more seriously?
definitely. See, if you see our RSDA guidelines or ADA guidelines, first it was like we have 5 years before, so we have to start as a monotherapy with metformin, then followed by SU, then followed by gliptins. Then now it is not so. Whenever we see a patient, many guidelines have been changed. One of the thing is, as you said, there are many patients we see with the young diabetes. So they are going to live with diabetes another 50 or 60 years or 70 years. For example, if I see a patient is 30 years young, newly married with diabetes, yeah, we have to at minimum is going to live 70 years with diabetes. So my concept is we should provide them a medication which go which helps to provide, what is say, control the blood glucose levels and also prevent the complications. That is very, very important for a physician, for all of us. So we should select a molecule and we should start with it, what is it, not as a monotherapy, and we should see their family history also if they have any cardiac issues or any renal issue in the family. So according to that, we have many fixed dose combinations available in India as of now, and we can start them with the medications. So that will help them to control the blood glucose level at the earliest and avoid the complications. And moreover, we have a good molecules like SGLT2 D4 inhibitors, and we got the durability of the glycemic control also very much better when with sulfonylurea and metformin. So definitely, in my personal experience, when I start a new patient with SGLT2 and metformin combination, I don't think so. There may be any add-on medication is needed for next 2, 3, 4 years. That is what I feel. Many patients usually they'll maintain HbA1c between less than 7.5. So it is we need to tailor the prescription according to the patient need, and definitely there are many available molecules or with the fixed dose combination that also will help in controlling the blood glucose levels to avoid the complications for the better life. So,
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Ramanan. I think we really spent a fantastic half an hour understanding from you, learning from your expertise, and I'm sure all your inputs are really going to help everybody who's logged in today in a very, very big way in not only understanding why we're the diabetes capital of the world, in understanding how we possibly could reach out to our patients and actually diagnose them earlier, and also how we need to be more empathetic and more aware that we need to treat our patients much earlier. Thank you very much for being with us today. It was an absolute pleasure listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank